Not the best of the time.
Mike was talking yesterday about how it's important for position coaches, not just to be good teachers and good coaches, but to work together. It seems like you have that on your staff. How do you get that? How do you build that? How important is that?
Yeah, again, if we want our players to connect, it starts with us as coaches of leading the way as far as, leading by example. And we try to do that as coaches to promote that with our players. And so, yeah, so important too, that, what Walsh said with him and, especially him, Clint, Bobby working in that front seven, working together, right? The group rush is one of the most important things that happen. When you see a quarterback break contain or things like that, it's there's obviously different reasons for that, but sometimes it's not working in unison as a group, and so it's so important that those guys are on the same page. And I love the fact that Clint and Bobby and Walsh are all on the same page and have a good relationship. So it's just another verification of our culture, of what we want to have here with the connection, with the togetherness.
What did you know about John Metchie before the trade? What do you think he can add to the team?
Yeah, obviously really liked him coming out, and with all our guys, having a bunch of Alabama guys on the roster, talking to those guys as you'd see an Alabama game when he came out of college, because obviously he made a lot of plays there. And so it was always a fan of his game, and then being able to watch him, he's quick. He's very quick. He's really the thing that really stood out to me is how tough he is. And just with how he blocks, just how he finishes on the sideline with the ball in his hands, you can just really see there's some similarities that you can tell they got coached by the same guys in college, because there's some similarities to how they finish with that ball in their hands to Devontae. And so, just always been a fan of his game and excited about the things that he can add to this football team.
How do you balance, being conservative with certain star players' workloads versus what happens after practice?
Yeah, everybody's on a individualized plan, but everybody, there is, make no mistake about it, to get ready to play in the season, you got to practice, or else your habits aren't going to be sharp. And so everybody, I wouldn't say, Jeff, that we just are conservative with them. If somebody's going through something and he's a second stringer or third stringer and he has something that he's dealing with, we'll be conservative with that guy as well. Because at this time, and that's obviously the same case with our guys that are starters. And so everybody, we look at that with everybody. But if they're ready to go, they're practice, right? Unless, something went on the day before, their workload was a little high, and then maybe we'll pull back a little bit. So everybody's is individualized, but, if they're ready to go, they're going to practice. And if they have something that's bothering them, that we feel like, our trainers and our doctors feel like they need limitations, we'll do that as well.
To that end, Nick, any concern with AJ and Devontae specifically that they won't be ready for week one?
Yeah, and we, again, don't have to get all into that information at this particular time. Bob will get you all the things for practice today. But, they're working really hard to get themselves ready to go.
You have one more day of camp left, but with it wrapping up, is there one thing that stands out to you about the last few weeks, either positive that you think the team improved on, or just something about this last month that stands out to you?
Yeah, you're always trying to improve, and you see we do different types of drills to help our guys improve in certain areas. And so, there's been a couple things, I guess my thought is, hey, we're still in camp right now, but I know there are certain things that are so important for game 1, game 2, game 3, the first month of that season, that we're working on a little bit even more as camp goes on. And so just want to continue to get better at those things, because we know how vital they are for opening games. And yes, we still have one more day of training camp here, a lighter day today. But then it's going to be the shift of the focus will be, hey, getting ready for this first game of the season.
On a personal level, what's it been like to see Kevin Patulo in this new role, and how have you seen him put a stamp on the offense?
Yeah, I think he's done. Like I've said before, I think he's just so hungry for this job that he's as you would expect from Kevin. He puts everything he has into it. Always here, working hard to do what he can do for our offense to get them in put them in positions to succeed. And like I said, he has great relationships with the players on this team. Where he can have a lot of good communication and dialogue with them. I just think he's done a really good job. The operation seems, whether we're doing operations out at practice or whether we're doing them at games or whether we're doing them at a joint practice or whether we're doing them at a practice in the stadium, that has been really good. And as expected, just because we've been together so long, of that communication of what's happening on different downs, different situations, and Kevin's done a really good job, and Parks has done a good job kind of taking Kevin's role to help Kevin out in that scenario. So I think he's done a really good job so far, and look for him to continue to do so.
On defense, you're going to have probably rookies either starting or contributing heavily again early in the season. You guys did that last year as a head coach. How do you with rookies in particular, prepare them for that? How do you equip them?
Yeah, practice. All the different things we do in practice. Again, when you put guys out there, you trust those guys. You trust them to be in there in those situations, and that doesn't happen. Again, all your confidence of things grow in practice. Whether that's my confidence in a play, if I'm deciding to go for it on fourth down, right? Am I confident in the players that we're throwing it to and the play that's being called? Well, it's the same thing with practice. When you put somebody out in the field, are you confident with those players and with the things that are being called to utilize those players?
Moving at the reserve tackle spot, do you have? Do you want to have a swing guy there?
I don't know if that's. Yeah, it doesn't have to be, Jeff, right? We'll play if the guy's better on the right, we'll play him on the right. If the guy's better on the left, we'll play him on the left. If the guy's better overall and he's a swing guy, I guess I've done that every single way that you can imagine in my time in the NFL, where sometimes you got a guy that just plays right, that's a backup. Sometimes you have one that just plays left, and sometimes you have a swing guy. And so I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned how that looks, as long as we're ready to go as far as having a guy in each position that we need to back up.
As far as staff development, have you considered giving position coaches more responsibility in these preseason games, whether it's defensive play, calling, game management, things like that?
No, and here's why, Zach. We're going through our process for us to be ready for a game. Obviously, I've seen that be done, and it works for some people, and that's fine. But everyone's mission is different during training camp. Everyone, in a lot of aspects, everyone's mission is the same, but everyone has different aspects of what they're doing. My job and what I want to do is to sharpen the tools of the things the coaches need to get ready for week one, just like we're doing for the players. And that's kind of an example thing too, right? We need that. First and foremost, we need that work to be able to go through and get ourselves ready to be sharp, because it's been a while since we've done that. But also, you just want to set that example that we're all trying to improve in things. I used to be around a place where it's like some of the young assistant position coaches would, hey, you go help out with defensive tackle this week instead of the defensive ends. And I still feel the same way about that as I do with this. You want them to continue to sharpen the tools of the things that they're going to be doing in the season, just like with the players.
Earlier on the rookies, to follow up about the rookies, how has Jahad Campbell specifically shown to you things that give you confidence in him?
Obviously, again, in practice, you see him make plays, you see him be able to defeat blocks, you see him. He's really has great motor to the football, tough. Length, and so and just growing in the defense every day. Again, it's the daily things, but those are some particular traits that I've seen.
Going back to the pass rush drills, we see Connor Barwin as like the stand-in quarterback. for those, I guess, what are some of the behind-the-scenes ways that he helps get the most out of practice? And is there something about those drills in particular that he does that we might not notice that it helps those guys?
Yeah, obviously you see him in linebacker drills too. Put the pads on, not the pads on, but the dummy on, so he gets a strike, right? So Bobby doesn't have to get that every single time. And he's big and strong, and so he can handle that. Well, it's the same thing there. He's able to, he's a good athlete. He's able to catch a snap sometimes when you don't have as good athlete back there. The guy drops the snap and the ball's on the ground. And then they're working on, the defensive line is working on finishing. We talk about the ball so much. They're working on finishing with the strip attempt. And, Connor's got the pad on his arm. I guess I thought he was a little tougher than that, but no, that's for them to be able to simulate that. It's just he's a good enough athlete to be able to get out of the way in those areas. But Connor, and why he's in those drills. But Connor's so valuable to our football team because, he's helping develop, helping us as coaches, helping Howie and his staff of helping develop guys. And that's your job as a coach is to constantly develop. And the more resources I have, and Howie has to be able to develop our team, those are welcomed.
I
What
saw
Darius-
What do you like about Cooper DeJean at outside and cornerback? And what made you want to try him at this point in training?
Yeah, again, just his versatility. You want to be able to have versatility out there, and Coop has that. Coop, obviously he can do a lot of different things. He can punt return. He can play nickel at a high level. He's played corner at a high level. Just a really good football player, and you're testing things out in this time and working different things at this time always.
Darius
So, Doug, what's
Cooper,
with
he's gotten first team reps, obviously by circumstance to a certain point, but as an undrafted kid, as a head coach, how does somebody like that catch your eye? Is it more consistent?
Yeah, you got it. Both. Yeah, it can't just be splash plays. It's got to be consistency. But the splash plays is what initially catches your eye. I've had a lot of free agents, make our football team in the past from all the way back. I'm just speaking of receiver, thinking of three guys that come to my mind. You have Zach Pascal, obviously he was here with us. You have Tyrell Williams from the Chargers and Dontrell Inman, and all those guys gave us a lot of quality reps. So you're always looking for guys that can contribute no matter how you acquired them. And again, you're looking for consistency, but you also have the talent to be able to shine, to get in there. And he's done a nice job so far.
So Douglas on the sideline with the headset, which is atypical for a front office person. What's his role in the game day operations?
Yeah, again, we don't need to. I'm not going to get into everybody's operations there. Joe's just a great resource for us to have, and he's awesome at his job, so we appreciate having him.